The kettlebell snatch, an excellent, somewhat intermediate to advanced kettlebell drill, okay? I love it for power, I love it for coordination, I love it for sequencing, I love it for fun, I love it for building strength. It's a super move, but it's obviously quite technical, okay? First things first, if you do not have shoulder mobility, if you can't bring your hand up here without your elbow bending or arching your back like crazy, if your arm isn't coming straight overhead with comfort, don't do this move. You don't need this move. Work on shoulder mobility, all right? You do not need this move. You got the shoulder mobility, you got happy shoulders that are able to do whatever you want to do the move. All right, let's break it down. So the snatch is basically a single arm swing. Lots of power from the hips to bring the weight all the way up overhead. But without technique, it's going to be very hard to bring the weight up, both literally from A on the floor to B overhead, and figuratively, the actual load of the bell increasing or going up is going to be very hard without the proper technique. The first problem is if we just keep it as a single arm swing, it's going to hammer down on our shoulders, hammer down on our wrist, hammer down on the lower back like that, okay? So what we got to learn is how to get our arm around the bell while the trajectory of the bell is still moving upwards. Again, like all of these ballistic kettlebell works or moves, power comes from the hips. We get the power from the hips right, then the arms just becomes about placement rather than actually pulling, okay? Now, as you get heavier and heavier and heavier, that does change. Everything in your body's gonna have to work. So the first thing we're gonna work on is a nice, easy single arm swing, but it's high. I want it to be lazy and I want it to be high. I want it to float. So start swinging your bell with a lazy shoulder, a lazy elbow, and getting the bell above your head. Okay, see how the bell is rising above my head? My elbow is staying below the bell. Work on that. That's number one. Focus on getting that and focus on feeling the float. How do you know it's floating? Well, I can almost take my hands away. Not really gripping. Real easy. See how the bell is coming up? I'm getting nice and loose with my fingers. That's what I want you guys to work on, okay? Once we've got that float, we need to learn how to utilize the trajectory of the bell to punch our hand through and finish with the bell overhead. So we're going to do a regressed version of that, which is a lower punch. Okay, so I'm going to punch at my hip. Nice loose hands, loose grip, and then punch at the hip. If you need to practice this a few times, you can get a really light weight and use two hands just to feel how your grip needs to be really loose to allow you to move around the handle of the bell. Big mistake people do is death grip it. Hold it really hard, and then there's nowhere for the bell to go because the grip is so strong, and then it just falls on them like that at the top. Okay? So your first drill, practice the float. Kettlebell float. Single arm float. Okay? Your second drill, practice the punch. And to think about practicing the punch, think about power from the hips, then try and let go of the bell. Let it go, right? Worst case scenario, I drop it, okay? Just make sure you have no downstairs neighbors. or you're on a nice floor. Other than that, let the bell go. That's the worst thing that can happen. But practice getting nice and loose. Then we're just going to go back to our float and keep going higher, 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 until you're confident enough to punch through. High float, punch. High float, punch. High float, punch. So I'm getting it up, 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 as that weight is weightless, as the weight is weightless, I guess. You punch through. You punch as hard as you can to finish nice and strong. And then when we do finish, quads, abs, glutes, all working really, really hard. We gotta lock out. Oftentimes the bell comes up and people are surprised. It's like, oh, here it is. It got there. Wow, that's incredible. But that surprise knocks them off their form and it looks like, oh shit, it's here, I did it. But I'm not integrated, I'm not strong. So as it's coming up, as I punch through the kettlebell, I punch my feet into the floor. Tension in both directions. Heels to the ground, knuckles to the sky. Okay? To bring the kettlebell down, we've got a couple of different options, and it depends on your confidence level. First up, I can just pull to my shoulder. From here, I can go into another swing and snatch. Pull to the shoulder, swing and snatch. That's the safest, most comfortable way. We can make it a little bit harder. We can go with a soft style eccentric, where I spiral my elbow towards my belly button. And let the weight vine down. And then we can go for hard style, where I rip it out of the sky. That last style is the most aggressive, probably best in terms of creating power, because you're ripping down really fast eccentrically. So you're going to take advantage of a super strong stretch shortening cycle or amortization phase, pulling down really, really hard, and then pop back up really, really, really hard. So that last one is the most advanced. You want to feel confident in your shoulders. You want to feel strong in your shoulders, but you're going to rip it out of the sky, use that power, use that momentum to pop back against itself for the next rep. The harder you can rip out of the sky, the easier that next rep is going to be. I know that's counterintuitive, but as you advance, it's going to make more sense. Start easy, back to your shoulder, swing, snatch, back to the shoulder, swing, snatch. And then as you get more and more comfortable, you can start ripping it down from overhead. And that is your kettlebell snatch. As with anything, reps is what's going to make you good with this.